Welcome to Books, Beauty, and Business. My name is Tani Bro. I'm your host today, and I'm very excited to have with me Lara Coursey. She is a volunteer and mentor at Rescue Houston here in Houston. Rescue Houston is an organization that helps get women out of situations that they are in due to sex trafficking. And today we really want to bring awareness to this topic because there are 48 million people in this world that have been affected by sex trafficking. And the U.S. is the lead of the world, really, when it comes to that. We have such a sexual society that's just hypersexual, really, and it's almost desensitized in a way. But if you do any reading or any information on this, you will find that we are number 2 to California for sex trafficking because of the geography we're at. We're so close to Mexico, but we're such a hub. We have I-10 running straight through us. And so this is a really big, very real issue in Houston. So I want to welcome Lara Coursey. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So before we get started, just tell us a little bit about your story.
My story. Okay. Well, I work in oil and gas, and I've been doing that for about 12 years now, and it's given me a lot of opportunities to do other things that I enjoy, and I entered into volunteering with Rescue Houston through going on a missions trip with my church.
Awesome.
Yes. So all of the things in life pretty much have culminated to where I am today, just to get me interested in sex trafficking and helping women that really cannot help themselves.
That's awesome. I do find that life kind of takes us on that journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as we go and experience new things. The way that I found out about Rescue Houston, I do have a heart for mission work. I would love to take my daughter on a trip, whether it be, you know, living water or doing something to really expose her to other parts of the world. We live in this wonderful place in the United States, and we live in this, I mean, we're so blessed to be where we are today, born in this culture, and here we are today, but there's a different world out there, and I really wanted her to experience that. So we went on, there was a missions workshop basically at our church, and there were a lot of different mission representatives there, and one of them was Rescue Houston. And what they do is they actually have a phone bank that they do. I'll let you explain the phone bank, because I think it's really impressive how you collectively sit down to tackle this. So tell us a little more about that.
Right. So Rescue Houston has a 24/7 hotline number.
Mm-hmm.
So if women that are in the sex industry, when or if they're ready to exit, they can call that anytime, and Rescue Houston will facilitate an exit for them, take them to safe housing, and they can be entered into a program to actually be rehabilitated to enter into society. A lot of these women don't know how to do the basic essentials of life. They don't know how to apply for a job. They don't know how to balance a checkbook. A lot of them don't have their IDs because they were trafficked at a very young age, and that is one way that their pimps and traffickers keep them in bondage. It's just to really make it where they can't be independent and they don't know how to do anything on their own. So what we do at Phone Bank is really interesting. I always say that it's very interesting when people ask me about it.
Uh-huh.
We sit down at our church, and we have our laptops pulled up, and we pull up escort ads. So there are 300 ads that are put online every day. 300 ads a day are posted. And most of those ads are posted by the pimp, not by the woman.
Okay.
So that's kind of important to know. And so we get the information for each of these ads. We enter it into a form that gets submitted to Rescue Houston, and then we call each woman and just give her the information that, yes, there's a way out. Yes, we can help you. Here's the information to get started. And, you know, we try to give them as much information that we can, and just let that seed be planted. It's not going to be, you're not going to call these women and they're going to say, okay, yes, I'm ready, like, help me, rescue me. That is not how it goes, because they've been they've been abused and forced to think all the things they think, which is nobody wants them for who they are. They can only be in the sex industry. Nobody loves them. Nobody cares about them. If they try to exit, they're going to get arrested. If they have children, they threaten their children's lives and their families' lives. So really what we do is plant that seed of, well, maybe he's lying to me. Maybe I should redirect my thinking. And then it's just a very slow process, but you have to start somewhere. And so this is where we start.
Wow. Like, you sometimes don't even imagine that world exists out there. I did have an opportunity to go and volunteer at one of Laura's phone banks, and so you're looking through these ads, and there's words that you look for, there's things that you notice. Like, you would never know this unless you were a volunteer or you were a part of some sex trafficking or a participant in this. And you're going through these ads, and one of the things, I think you said 85% of women on there are not of their free will.
Right.
I mean, there's some soccer moms that are on there that aren't being threatened or have a parent threatening them, I guess.
Yeah.
But for the 85% of women online that they're planting that seed to, that's amazing to me. So can you talk a little bit about the success stories that happened because of this type of work?
Yeah, so Rescue Houston will post every month how many women have exited the sex industry, and it varies anywhere from 5 to 15 women a month. And so that's kind of the light at the end of the tunnel, or maybe a light at the beginning of the tunnel, just to know that what we're doing is making a difference. And sometimes we get on the phone with these women, and they'll be real chatty, and they'll tell you what's going on. They'll tell you, oh, I am afraid of getting arrested, and that's why I don't want to exit. And so it's just starting these conversations. But the women that come out, sometimes they come out multiple times. We've had one woman that exited 12 times, and every time she would go back to her pimp because she was scared. She didn't think she could do this on her own, which is what they make them to believe. And that last time, for whatever reason, it stuck, and she's been out for over a year now, and she's living a healthy lifestyle. I have a mentee right now as well, and so she's exited through the program. They're all assigned a mentor. I was chosen to be hers, which was really special, and to watch her walk through the process has been really rewarding, difficult, challenging, but really at the end of the day, it's amazing to see somebody that's gone through this.
I mean, if you just reach one person,
right,
you've been able to free from that type of a situation and that type of bondage in their life. Like, it still blows my mind. There are a lot of organizations. So Rescue Houston is planting that seed and calling. There are other organizations that actually go and pick them up and take them to a safe house, right? And then,
so Rescue Houston, they are really they are kind of the full package. So we call them through the phone bank, and then there's other volunteer opportunities through Rescue Houston. So you can be the hotline advocate. So when that woman calls, you take that phone call, you facilitate that conversation, and then you set up the exit team. Exit team is another volunteer opportunity. So the exit team will go to the pickup location, pick up that woman, and take her to a safe house, or safe housing. Rescue Houston works with a lot of different organizations in the city of Houston and the mayor's office and the police organization to always have a bed for these women when they're ready to exit. And then they are assessed, and then they can be entered into a program. There's multiple programs. There's a Rescue Houston program, or there's just a lot of other organizations in Houston that these women can enter into to really start the process of getting their life back on track. So it's really a start to finish, The other organizations like Elijah Rising do a lot of outreach programs where they're going out into the field with
they actually go into like brothels and like into locations, right?
So I've done that, and that's very interesting as well.
Okay.
And Rescue Houston partners with them because when we go into the streets, like on Bissonnette, which is the hottest spot, or into the brothels or into the strip clubs, we distribute the Rescue Houston hotline number to them. So it's great partnerships with a lot of these organizations that have the same goal.
Wow. So, the other flip side of it, I was reading that 90%, like they're afraid to be arrested, right? And if they're on the street and they're, they get picked up and they do get arrested, they're the 90% that typically do. The participants, like the participants that are out there feeding this whole frenzy, right? They're not the ones going to jail. It seems like if we can bring awareness to this a little bit more, like, hey, we're watching you. We see what you're doing out there.
Yes.
Like, this is a huge problem. Like, that to me kind of still blows my mind.
Yeah, it's really a supply and demand industry. So if you didn't have the demand, we wouldn't have this problem. And it is kind of shocking on how many men purchase sex online. And it's our men, it's the men in our backyards. It's maybe some men that we know that we don't know about, but we know them. And that's really disheartening and sad. I think a man that purchases sex is called a John. So
I have seen that on like NCIS or something.
Yeah. So I think a lot of Johns think they're justifying this by thinking that the woman, it's her choice. And so by not diving in and really figuring out that it's not her choice, that's his out. That's my opinion. That's not an official study, but that's the reaction that I get a lot with what I do is, oh, it's their choice. They're doing this. They act happy. Well, they're forced to act.
Yeah, they have somebody like threatening them, or their family, or their children, or you're focused on the 85% of people in this industry that are not there of their free will. They're being forced into this. They were either abducted from a young age, and they were sex trafficked to the city. They don't know anyone. They don't know how to get help. And so this is a way for really like good Samaritans to just walk up to them and say, hey, there's a different life out there.
Yeah.
Here's a number. Please call me when you're ready. Like I said, it still just blows my mind. Like, and if you're in your bubble, sitting in your home, and you're not part of learning about some of the things that are happening even in your own city or in large cities in the U.S., it just look online. There are ways to get connected. There are organizations like this that you can volunteer at. You can help. I have a daughter, and I like to travel, and my biggest fear was like, and I would tell Ellie, you're gonna get snatched. She's sitting right next to me. Like, this is not a joke. Like, where we go and what we do, you're staying right next to me. And I just like couldn't imagine a person being in that situation, not of their own free will, and this is a way for them to have help and get out.
Yeah, the average age of girls getting trafficked is 13. So you can imagine if that's the average, that means that there's girls that are younger. Yeah. And that's hard. And so, there's a lot of groups that are all about working with children that are being trafficked. And I think that's why as soon as they become an adult, they get forgotten. But there was a good chance that they were trafficked when they were a minor. And so to try to reach these women and let them know that they haven't been forgotten, that we do want to help them, is, it's a struggle to get that ear of the person to just educate people and bring awareness.
Yes. And again, I'm so glad you're here talking about this today, because this was really meant to bring awareness. Even through Children at Risk was an organization I was part of, and that's where I started to learn some of the statistics, like thrown in my face statistics of what happens in Houston from some of these children. And so being a part of that organization and seeing it and learning about it, because unless someone's telling you, hey, look at the statistics, look at these children, look what really happens to them. This is not an NCIS movie. This is real.
Right. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, the media blows it out of proportion, you know, or the couple of cases that they show, well, that's just the really bad ones. But that is not the case. Houston is #1 in sex trafficking in the nation. So we just beat everybody out.
Oh, wow.
And that's really what kind of got my attention to get into this organization. Mm-hmm. Because that is not something that we should be #1 at.
No, it is not. So I had read California, but you're saying Houston. Like, Houston is the #1 sex trafficking. See, that's
correct. And it is literally in everybody's backyard. So if you live in the burbs, it's in your backyard too. We have a lot of these outreach programs have been moving further and further out of the city because there's more of a need. There's they're trying to crack down on regulations on brothels and things in the city, and so they're just moving out further.
Oh.
So we have outreaches in Lake City, in Katy, Galveston, all the places that you can imagine, and still, of course, here in the city. There is the statistic that every single apartment building in Houston has at least one brothel running out of it, even your high-end one, especially your high-end ones.
Like, I don't even know how to respond to that.
Right. It's everywhere.
Yeah, that just seems insane.
It's not just your big, it's not like they have a big house. They do, but it's not just, these designated places that you might see and you're like, oh, that looks kind of shady. They probably got something going on back there. Mm-hmm. It's literally everywhere.
Yeah. I did get to see a map that just pointed out the places in Houston that were like either reported against or something. And like, if you pull this map up, it looks like every pinhole, every massage parlor, or not every massage parlor. I'm not going to say that, but like those type of places. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what can people do to help support Rescue Houston?
So, a lot of people want to donate money, which is great, and that's always needed, but really just donating your time and boots on the ground. Volunteer at a phone bank, get connected with any organization. I don't care if it's Rescue Houston or Elijah Rising or the many, many other ones that there are, and just get in it. See what it's really all about. And I think that's what's so great about, phone bank is an easy entrance because you are just sitting in a room with other volunteers. So it's pretty low risk. You're just on the phone. It's awkward, but just to really get the knowledge and to see what's going on. There's so many areas just with Rescue Houston that you can do to volunteer. Like I said, I'm a mentor now, which is just beyond words. Mm-hmm. And, the hotline, the exit team, volunteering with intervention with Rescue Houston and Elijah Rising, that is an eye-opening experience. I bet. So just ask, and we'll get you connected into doing something.
Excellent. Well, I will have all of your information in the links below. So if you are interested or you just want to read up on what are these ladies talking about, what's really happening, just read up on it. It's at your fingertips. You can go and find out more information on it. So I have a couple extra questions for you. I know this has been really great information. So how did you really find your heart for this? You said your life kind of culminated to this point. Was it just through your church that this kind of drew you to it, or what brought you to Rescue Houston?
I always really had a pull toward working with women that have been abused, and so in college I studied that. I did my internship at a women's shelter, which was really eye-opening, and I just knew that I didn't know what I was going to do with that, but I knew I needed to help women that truly felt like they can't help themselves. And so when I joined my church and went on a missions trip and just met all of the perfect people that I was supposed to meet in my life at that time, which happens, and it's supposed to happen that way, I had another group of ladies that started a Rescue Houston phone bank out at our Richmond campus.
Okay.
And she asked me, and I said, yes, I want to do that. And she said, well, I think you should sleep on it and really think about it. I was like, no, I know, like that. It was instant. As soon as you said it, I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I started there, and then on the very first night, I asked the Rescue Houston staff member, I was like, can we start one at my church? Because I'm ready to do that now. And she's like, well, you just started. I'm like, I know, but I want to do this. And just seeing the women and the misconceptions that people have toward them and what's really going on in the background, I'm like, wait, no, everybody needs to stop what they're doing and really hone in on what's going on and try to help these women and try to help society change their thought process on the stereotypes that are wrongly put on them.
Yeah, absolutely. I love your passion and your heart for this. I can feel it. I think that's really awesome. Well, do you have any tips for the ladies, inspiration or motivational tips that you'd like to share?
Well, sure.
I feel like some of our questions now are so superficial almost when we're talking about such a deep, such an important topic as people's lives.
But that is a good question. What motivates you?
Yeah.
A lot of people ask me all the time, how do you do everything? Because I do a lot of things, and my answer is always, I do what I love. I love everything that I do. And if you love something, you should do something that's connected to that. And if you love 20 things, then go do 20 things. If you love one thing, then do that one thing really well.
Yep.
And so if you love it, you're never gonna not want to do it. And so that's really why I do everything. And I'm good at multitasking. I have a lot of calendar alerts. It beeps, and I go wherever I'm supposed to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, managing your time is super important because you do a lot of things. I was just reading up on your many different adventures in entrepreneurship, things that you're into. But I really, I felt like this was a really great way to bring more awareness to it. So I really thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I enjoy it, and I'll continue to help volunteering and help spread the word.
I look forward to seeing you at our next phone bank.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Thank
Laura.
you.
Bye, guys. Until next time, all the information will be below. If you have any questions for Laura, her contact information, if you just want to have a conversation with her and find out a little bit more, please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much. Take care.